Hello everyone. We are now going to start with alcohol, phenol and ethers. Today in this video we'll be discussing two important aspects that are closely related with alcohol, phenol and ether. We will be focusing number one on the IUPAC nomenclature and a little bit about the related structure of these functional group containing compounds. Let us first start with IUPAC nomenclature. We will begin with alcohol. Pardon me. Whenever we are discussing about alcohol, we always have two things in mind: the suffix and the prefix related to this term alcohol. If we try to explain this OH functional group as a prefix, we always coin it as hydroxy. But if we try to explain it as suffix, we always coin it as all alcohol. So keep these two aspects very well in your mind. And now let us just take 8 to 10 different examples of those structures which has to be coined into IUPAC nomenclature. Let us start with the first example. I'll take examples in such a way that many rules and regulations that are related to such examples can be explained and made very clear. If we think of these three examples at a shot, what is the first observation that we are supposed to do? As the part of the first observation, the point where the OH group is attached has no carbon. So don't make a mistake over here. So in all these three examples, the first carbon is always situated at this point where I am numbering it as 1. So first of all, just number these carbon in a straight way so as to get a longest possible chain. Always while determining an IUPAC nomenclature, you have to divide the IUPAC name into 5 sections, of which the most important and the centered section is the root. Along with the root, you have suffix 1 and suffix 2. And similarly, on another side, you have prefix 1 and prefix 2. Now, be very clear. Whenever you say root, you are always trying to indicate the number of carbon atom in a selected longest chain. For example, in all these three cases, there is only a single chain and hence it has to be the longest, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in all the case. So I will write hex. You very well know meth, eth, prop, but, pent, hex, hept, oct, non, dec, undec, dodec and so on. Now, if you find only single bonds in the structure, your suffix 1 will always be in. Fortunately or unfortunately, if you get a double bond or a triple bond in your structure, you will always write in followed by ein. Similarly, this suffix 2 will include functional group. Over here, as we have OH as the functional group, we will add the suffix all. So we are done with the root, we are done with the suffix 1, and we are very much clear now with the suffix 2. Similarly, this prefix 1 is always written when you have a cyclic structure and it is indicated as cyclo. But if you do not have cyclic structure, No need to write acyclo or no need to mention anything, just leave it aside. And this prefix 2 is a substituent which is less prior than alcohol. I am writing this because we are at presently learning alcohol. So, keeping into the idea of these few statements, let us write the IUPAC for the first structure. It has 6 carbon, so it will be hex, and no double bond, no triple bond, so it will be hex plus ane, and on the number 1 you have an alcohol, so it will be 1-all. Now let us combine this whole set of root, suffix 1 and suffix 2. So friends, when we will combine this hex, ane and 1-all, we will always end up by writing hexane 1-all. Remember over here, the E letter of the ane or ene or ein is always removed when you have the presence of suffix 2. So I will always end it at hexane 1-all. Now, coming to this second structure, remember it very well what I am speaking for the second structure. It again has 6 carbon atoms, so it will be hex. But over here you have 2 double bonds, and those 2 double bonds are present or rather starting respectively from carbon number 1 and carbon number 3. So it will be hex ene first of all. But why ene? No, not only ene. You must mention diene because there are 2 double bonds. As soon as you will mention diene, you will suddenly realize that you must mention the position of the double bond. So we always mention the position of the double bond from where it starts, and it has to be the least possible number. So it will be hex plus 1,3-diene plus again you will mention 1-all. This is 1-all, this is 1,3-diene. Now when you will write, you will always write it as hex 1,3-diene 1-all. We very well know this E has to be removed, and I have already removed. But this is not the complete answer. Remember very well, when you have 2 or more than 2 double bonds, or when you have 2 or more than 2 triple bonds, I am very clear. I am never saying that when you have 1 double bond and 1 triple bond. No, I am very clearly stating that when you have 2 double bonds or when you have 2 triple bonds, always after the name of the root, you have to write an extra A. So it will not be hex, it will be hexa. Hexa 1,3-diene 1-all. I am writing the name again over here. Hexa 1,3-diene 1-all. This is how it works. Very clearly I am speaking. This has to be followed only and only when you have more than 2 double bonds or more than 2 triple bonds. Rather, making very clear, 2 or more than 2 double bonds, 2 or more than 2 triple bonds. Still, if we go for the third example, you have 1 double bond and 1 triple bond. In such a case, no need to go for hexa, only hex 1 ene 3-ine 1-all. So now let us combine these 3 different sections. I will end up by writing hex 1 ene 3-ine 1-all. Hex 1 ene 3-ine 1-all. This is how you write. So friends, this is the very first and a very basic way of representing alcohol with IUPAC nomenclature, and that too with a condition of representing OH as a suffix. Let us still take few other examples. I hope you are clear with these 3 examples. We are still moving ahead with few other examples to make our concepts understanding more clear. Over here, if we still think what more can be done, see what we can do. Still moving a step ahead, I am mentioning it like this. What I'll do, I'll write a OH over here. I'll write another OH over here. So now there are two OH. Whenever there are two OH, be very clear. I am not going to write all, I am just going to write diol. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it has to be pentane, or let us make it more simple, pent plus ane plus 1,5-diol. Now, when I'll combine this, I'll just end pentane 1,5-diol. This is how it works. Pentane 1,5-diol. Let us move still inside in this structure. If I write one OH over here, if I write another OH over here, and if I write a double bond over here, if I mention a double bond over here. Now, if the double bond was not there, you would have mentioned the number in any way because it looks something like symmetrical. But when you have a double bond, when you have two same functional groups on either side, always be more prior to the double bond. So I have to compulsorily mention one along with the double bond, and now while naming it, I have to compulsorily write pent 1-ene 1,5-diol. You do not have any other choice than writing like this. Still, moving ahead with the third example in the same method. See what I am trying to do, or rather what I am trying to explain. If I have two OH groups, I have a double bond over here, I have a triple bond over here. In such a case, always remember that double bond is more prior than triple bond. So, while numbering, be very clear: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and therefore I'll mention hex 1n 5n 1,6-diol. Hex 1-ene 5n 1,6-diol. This is how it works. Now, let us assume of having two double bonds. Two double bonds. Very easy. I will replace this name by writing penta 1,4-diene 1,5-diol. This is how it works. So this is important. This is important. So I hope you are clear with such examples of diol. Now let us make it a little bit clumsy. I'm using this word clumsy over here because we want to have some odd examples with us which we can solve whenever required. So now we will keep on increasing the OH, we'll keep on adding some double bonds and triple bonds, and then check how can we come up with the solutions for the same. So I'm just mentioning 2OH and we'll solve this example, and I am also mentioning one more structure where I am planning to write more than 2 OH group. Similarly, let us go with another structure where you have 3 OH group. Now, for this particular structure, just try to number it first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you will go like this, you will make a mistake. No one has ever told that OH should be given one number. It has to be given a minimum number. Always remember this. So never write 1 over here. Otherwise you will make a mistake. It is not a 7 carbon chain. Mind well, friends, it's an 8 carbon chain. So this is one way of numbering, 1 to 8. Let us begin from this side. Let us see what happens. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. If you check from the top, that is the red color pen, it is number 2 and number 8 where the OH group is coming. While I'll go from this way, it is number 1 and number 7 where the OH group is coming. So it is the formula, the rule, that is the lowest set of locant that exists, and this is how we will write. So now when I have this 1, 7, I have to compulsorily follow the green marks. Sorry, I'll keep this. I have to remove this. Pardon me. This is how it works. So now, how should I write? On number 3, you have a methyl substituent. So the answer would be oct N 17 diol. But this substituent has to be mentioned. So it will be 3-methyl octane 17 diol. This is how you will be able to solve. Coming to the second example over here, if you check very clearly, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So now it is pentane 2, 3, 4 triol. Pentane 2, 3, 4 triol. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it is 2, 4, 6, 8. So it is nonane 2, 4, 6, 8 tetraol. 2, 4, 6, 8 tetraol. So friends, these are the examples. Very, very important examples when it comes to chemistry, or rather organic chemistry. Taking one more example over here. This is a very popular traded name liquid compound available with us at a particular temperature. So for this particular compound, you will always mention propan 1, 2, 3 triol. See, this is what I have also got it from somewhere. A very good teacher of mine in my master degree program used to teach us a very perfect accent when it came for understanding of the subject. Propane. If someone says propane, it is this. But if someone says propan, it means there is something, a functional group that is replacing this E. Propan, propane. This is the difference when you are learning a subject from a very good teacher. And I had a very good person with me during my master degree program who made these things very clear to me. Now, let us go ahead and let us introduce few cyclic structures. These are also very much important. When we have these cyclic structures, let us assume one cyclic structure first. Whenever you see a cyclic structure, be very clear that the prefix 1 will now be highlighted as cyclo. So over here, nevertheless, cyclo will be coming. You have 6 carbons, so it will be hex. No double bond, triple bond business. So in, and on the first carbon itself, it is 1 ol. Now you will ask, how did you number this carbon as 1 number, sir? Always remember, if you have a cyclic compound, a chain of cyclic carbons, always number the least to that particular carbon from where the highest prior functional group starts. From where the highest prior functional group start. What is the reason of using this word highest prior functional group? If I have COOH and CHO, I am very much sure from the priority order that has been taught to us in our plus 2 that COOH is much more prior than CHO, and therefore 1 number will come over here and 4 number will come over here. Similarly over here I only have one functional group and henceforth it has to be the prior one. And so while combining all this thing, I will end up with cyclohexane 1-ol. This is how we'll write. Let us take few other very important examples. You have one OH over here and one OH over here. So it has to be 1. If you go this way it is 3. If you come this way it is 3. So cyclobutane 1,3-diol. So it is cyclobutane 1,3-diol. Taking another example over here, dear students, this is the double bond and this is the OH. Now comes the rule of IUPAC nomenclature. You have 3 carbons over here. You have double bond between 2 carbon and the OH functional group on 1 carbon, which has to be the most prior carbon. Always remember OH, that is the FG functional group, is more prior than double bond, and therefore the carbon that is directly attached to OH is most prior. And as it is a symmetrical molecule, you can go number 2 and 3 on any either side, and henceforth I will always explain it as cycloproptene 1-ol. And friends, cycloproptene 1-ol, not ene. Cycloproptene 1-ol. This is how we'll write. Still moving ahead, this is one of the very simple but an example that has to be understood. When I have such an example, I'll very clearly mention over here cyclopropane 1, 2, 3 triol. Cyclopropane 1, 2, 3 triol. Now see the chemistry. A double bond. Compulsorily of these 2 carbons, any 1 carbon has to be given the priority. And in such a case, let us make this one 2 and 3. The name will change. I am writing the new name for the upgraded structures. Cycloprop 1N 1, 2, 3 triol. This is where the change occurs. So these are few of the cyclic alcohols. Remember very well, I am speaking for cyclic alcohols. Till now we have not at all taken any example for phenol or ether. We are still in the alcohol. Now remember one thing, that when you have several functional groups which are more prior than OH, then OH now becomes prefix and I must write hydroxy. But when I have OH much prior than others, OH becomes alcohol. So again I have repeated that part so it becomes very clear for you. The reason for repeating that part was, if sometimes somewhere I get a chance to write like this, then always COOH is more prior, and I'll always write this now as a prefix. It is hydroxy, it is no more ol, so it becomes pentane 1 oic acid. This oic acid stands for COOH, pentanoic acid. And now you have on number 2, that is friends, 2-hydroxy. This is how it works. 2-hydroxy pentane 1 oic acid. So we are done with most of the IUPAC nomenclatures of alcohol. And always remember, it is a very large set of questions that you can create for IUPAC. It is an unending question paper when it comes to IUPSC. But somewhere in the process of learning, we have to stop one topic and move towards another subtopic. So now we are jumping from alcohol to phenol. Always remember, when the OH group is attached to alkyl or cycloalkyl, we always coin it as alcohol. But when this same OH group, hydroxyl group, is attached to a benzene ring, we have to compulsorily call it phenol. We have to compulsorily call it phenol. Now, here comes one of the most important thing. I'll just take two variety of structures, OH and CH3 and OH and OH. These two structures in itself will make many things clear for us. See, we all will prompt very quickly, it is metacresol. Absolutely right. But it is not IUPSC. It can be considered as a general name. Definitely yes. Then what about IUPSC? This carbon has to be given 1 number, 2 number and 3 number. And on number 3, you have a methyl group. So it will be written as 3-methyl phenol. Now it is okay. 3-methyl phenol. So remember this thing very well. You will see people very confidently mentioning it as resorcinol. You are right. But you are right in terms of general name. What about its IUPSC name? You have to very clearly mention benzene 1,3-diol. And if you would have now kept your eyes wide open, I have not mentioned the E over here because it is not required. Benzene 1,3-diol. Similarly, you will have benzene 1,4-diol known as quinol, benzene 1,2-diol known as catechol, orthocresol known as 2-methylphenol, and paracresol known as 4-methylphenol. So these are very few examples of phenol. The methyl group, the ethyl group, the alkyl group, the alkoxy group, the nitro group, and the halogen groups. If these groups or any 1 or 2 or 3 from these groups are present along with the OH in a benzene ring, I will just unanimously name them all as A. If any one of this is present on any of these substituent, you always have to make them all prefix. And therefore, I'll just show you one simple example. It is nitro and it is methyl group. I'll write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will not go this way because if I'll go this way, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Coming from the black way, it is 2, 5. Coming from the green way, it is 3, 6. So it's a 2, 5 substitution. So it's nitro on 2, methyl on 5. But while writing IUPSC, we have to follow ABCD in naming only. And therefore it becomes 5-methyl, 2-nitro, phenol. So very short and a simple topic to understand, and that is phenol. So make this very clear. There are very few explanatory examples when it comes to phenol, but it is very, very essential to learn phenol. So this is the IUPSC nomenclature that is directly associated with phenol. Now, still moving a step ahead, let us go towards ether. Whenever you are going towards ether, there are very few but very important rules. So let us now begin with ether. Look into this example. You will always have a O between two R. You will always have a O between two R. If you see the first video that is related to this topic, I have classified ethers. So you just check for the longest chain on either side of oxygen. On the right of this structure, I have 3 carbon. On the left of this structure, I have 4 carbon. So this becomes my chain. This becomes my root. And this will get combined with oxygen and become my substituent. If you only have 3 carbon as your substituent, you have always mentioned it as propyl, because just now when you had 1 carbon, you all agreed with me by methyl. So it will be propyl. But when you have an oxygen added to propyl, very prominently we will write propoxy. We will write propoxy. Therefore, it now becomes propoxy butane. But over here, this E is important because you do not have any other thing. So it is very important to write propoxy butane. So it is propoxy butane. Moving ahead, whenever you have similar number of carbons on each side, 3 over here, 3 over here, anyone becomes the chain, anyone can become the substituent. Let us make this as the substituent, this as the change. So it will be propoxy propane. This is how it works. This is how it works. Over here, no need to number the substituent because it is not attached with carbon, it is attached with oxygen. But if sometimes you have a structure where you have a cyclic structure with you, and O, and like this, then you have 2 carbon on this side, you have 6 carbon on another side. So this 2 carbon will now become your substituent and it will be ethoxy, and then you have benzene on the other side, ethoxy benzene. Now a very simple change in the current example, it will now be ethoxy, instead of benzene you will write cyclohexane, ethoxy cyclohexane. So this is how it works, ethoxy cyclohexane. But over here, if someone says I want to write 1 propoxy butane, you cannot refuse, because this carbon is the first carbon. 1 propoxy propane, we have to agree, and writing this number is a very important thing. 1 ethoxy benzene, I have to agree. 1 ethoxy cyclohexane, I must agree. So these numbers are very important, and I am always in a favor of writing numbers of the substituents. Let us take few very important examples in the category of ether. Let us assume that I have 2 structures combining with an oxygen like this, and when I go with an trade name, general name of this, people have always called it as diphenyl ether. But for IUPAC name, this is a substituent, this is your root. So this is benzene and this is phenoxy. So it is 1 phenoxy benzene. Remember very well, 1 phenoxy benzene. Now, if I have a benzene ring and on the other side if I have only cyclic ring, so it will be 1 cyclohexyl, 1 cyclohexyl. If I say cyclohexyl, it will be without O. But with O, this is number 1, it will be 1 cyclohexoxy benzene. 1 cyclohexoxy benzene. Now, let us take one example where you have a cyclic and a acyclic part and both are joined by an O, that is ether. Always look for the number of carbon. Over here the number of carbon is 6, over here the number of carbon is 4. So where there are less carbon, will always go into substituent, and so I have to mention 1 butoxy cyclohexane. Now, whenever I have a cycle with same number of carbon in the acyclic part, 6, cyclic is always prior than acyclic, and again it will be substituting over here. So it will be 1 is this, 1 hexoxy cyclohexane. But contradicted to this two, if I have a 6-member cyclic ring, but on the outer side if I have more than 6 carbon, be very clear, here I have an O, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. In this case I must write this as the substituent, and therefore I will go by mentioning 1 for this cyclohexoxy octane. 1 cyclohexoxy octane. So friends, this is how we can write the IUPAC respectively for alcohol, phenol and ether. You very much know the point of contact in case of any queries. You have the number for the Deepam Foundation. You can contact me there. I'll be very happy to solve your queries. So with this, you have 2 lectures in your pocket for alcohol, phenol and ether. The first one described the generalization for alcohol, phenol and ether with the types of alcohols and things like that. And the second is the IUPAC nomenclature. Stay tuned with me. We are coming up in the 3rd lecture with the preparations of alcohols. Thank you.